Yeah, we can start.
So,
Muskan,
I have to start now? Okay, so,
be a bit
Yeah,
soft.
please.
good morning, everyone. We hope all of you are at home and in good health. On behalf of the OWAS team, hello.
Yeah, go ahead, ma. Go ahead.
On behalf of the OWAS team, I, Muskan, extend a warm welcome to all of you present today, marking the beginning of POVC 1.0 VIT Chennai's first ever Capture the Flag competition. We hope you have a very good learning experience throughout our sessions. The event will be held on 24th of
Hi,
July
Sriram.
from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then the machine will go live from 3 p.m. till 9 a.m. the next day. Today we have our faculty coordinators with us. We thank them for our constant guidance and support. Today we have Dr. Nityanandam on behalf of the OVAS student chapter to say a few words to all of us.
Yes, sir. So you can speak. You can speak, sir.
Is it audible? Good morning.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good morning. Welcome to this Capture the Flag event. Many thanks to the VASP team who had instrumental in starting this event. So today, the day of the need to the society is cybersecurity arena. So on this aspect, we welcome this initiative on the event of capturing the flag, where the idea is to basic idea is to exploit the finding the exploit of vulnerabilities available in a computer or a system. So in this regard, this event will be very, very useful to the uh, end user or the people who are involved in this event, so that people will be finding at last the idea to exploit the vulnerabilities which are available in the system, and finally they make a write up and they will be submitting. I hope positively around 350 registration has been done till now. It's a great work. So the event start by 3 p.m. I hope the server start by 3 p.m. with the questions, and of course it will end by tomorrow 9 a.m. And once after 9 a.m., once you upload all your the write-up which you find out of this event, that will be evaluated by the WASP team with the specialist who is available to evaluate this. And of course, I thank the coordinators, the third year coordinators, Aspash, Aditya, Kunal, and Shraddha, who is instrumental in doing this event, yeah, notable one. And I also welcome all the participants who joined this event to be a remarkable one. And also, I congratulate the WASP office bearers, secretaries, presidents, and all these people to make this event a grand success. Thank you very much, Mark. Go ahead. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your kind words. Next, we have Dr. Geeta to say a few words to all of us.
So, very good morning to all of you. Uh, Special appreciations to the entire team who has organized this one, the students coordinator, the OAS team. And like there are 350 participants over here. So you can understand the importance and the trend, like how the trend is currently. So towards ethical hacking or towards computer security, cyber security, and OASP is doing many such activities focused around cyber security space. And we thank our VIT management, all the officials, all the officials, and then our Provisi ma'am, additional register, Dean Scope, student welfare, everybody for permitting us to do all these activities. And I would like to suggest and I would like to emphasize like this activity, we are contributing a lot of time, close to 2 days. So whatever single pinch of activity we do know, it is really a profile addition. Okay, it is really something useful and potential we are adding to our profile. So with that intention, you have to take up the process and learn how much you can. Because the world is very fast moving. The technology which is vivid today, next year you see like it is nowhere. Okay, it is nowhere. So the momentum you pick up, no, it has to be very fast. Then whatever the time you put, the efforts you put, no, it is returning to you. So in that sense, I want to emphasize you learn as much as you can within these 2 days. Okay, and then learn a lot of other things apart from technicality, especially the teamwork and the team spirit and the winning spirit, the competitive edge. And even you can learn from these coordinators because these people are doing extremely good. The way they plan for an activity, the way they make a proposal, everything is fantastic. So a word to the junior is you can learn even the coordinatorship from this one. And we will always remember Sharad Agarwal, who was the founder of this OWASP. He's very, very, very vibrant and like kind of passionate student. And we have seen many other such students, and we want to see similar other students also. So I take this moment to tell about that one. And then all the best to all of you. Happy learning. And then carry over. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Muskan and Shraddha, you can move to discuss. Lakshay bhaiya, you can switch off the stream.
If you are still confused about CTF, then need not worry. We welcome two of our very experienced speakers. They will be giving you a full-fledged insight about CTF. Our first speaker for the day is Mr. Sriram Kesavan. He is the CEO and founder of TechReach Group and security researcher with a demonstrated history of working in computer and network security industry. He is also skilled in research, hacking, and application development. Now we request him to start the session.
Because
Yeah,
like
it's also good.
when I keep
Yeah.
switching to okay, fine. Okay, hello all, and sorry for the tech. I'll not be quiet for like more than 5 seconds. Okay, just let me know. So I'll get it if there's a technical issue. Okay, so I'm really sorry for the delay, guys, and due to some technical issues, and like the government has been playing with me really bad with the electrical issues, and yeah, it's an early morning situation as well for me at 11, probably 11:30. So I'm really sorry for the delay. And let's see about CTF, which is in beginner sessions, and I just want to make sure it is a clean and clutter session. For making it is in like a clear beginner session. I just want to make sure you guys have a notepad with you guys to like keep track of all the things I say, because like you might come across some new stuff which I'm not really sure, because like this PPT has been created like really fast, even though I had some meetings by the time. So just we'll go with the sessions. We'll also have a live session. We'll also see how to solve some missions. We'll also have some demos. And myself, I'm Sriram. So and I'm the founder and CEO of TG Cyber Labs. We are one of the youngest cybersecurity providers in India. We also secure some of the global organizations, and I'm also in Google VRP top security researcher, ranking under probably 200. I'm not sure about the rank this year. I guess 165 maybe. I was also rewarded as a top security researcher by Google, and also on Bugcrowd, which is familiar for some bug bounty hunters or ethical hackers here in this call. And basically, I'm a bug bounty hunter. Like I love bug bounty hunting. And I'm also founder of Let's Hack Foundation, which is a foundation which helps beginners to get into the field of cybersecurity, or it can be anything like artificial intelligence, machine learning, but I prefer cybersecurity. And let's get into the history of CTF. History of CTF is one of the basic thing you have seen. Like I guess you have like played like small games in your childhood where you have a set of flags in the opposite team, where you need to capture the opposite team flags by defending them or by attacking them, and also be like securing your own flags present at your side. So this is what the history of CTF is, and it got developed to the technologies, with the technologies, and with the time being, like modernize the things. And gamers alert here, we have one more CTF, which is probably well known by Overwatch players, which is Overwatch CTF, where we have two teams, where one's goal is to capture a flag, which who will be determined as winner. And for Call of Duty players, if you die, you'll be going to Gulag, and where you'll secure a flag there, which is A and B, and you'll obviously be a winner, which is also a best example for a CTF. But we also have different, field of things, like we have different people here. And like mechanical people used to conduct a lot of programs, like assembling an engine from scratch by deassembling it, and a lot of things might be doing from different field of perspectives. But in the field of information security, there was no such task. So on that basis, it was developed, which was called as just a second, which was developed, which is named as Capture the Flag, in the sense of information security, where a set of flags will be hidden in the machine, and your job is to like gain access to those flags, and submit those flags, and make sure it is a like a valid flag to make it possible, or like capture the entire mission. And your job is to capture the entire mission probably. There are like multiple types of CTFs. The first type of, like, the traditional mode of CTF models is Jeopardy CTF. I probably think this is a kind of that CTF, because Jeopardy style CTF are the most common type of CTFs conducted all over the world. And we'll also see what is Jeopardy kind of CTFs, and we'll go on with the topics. And next one is attack defense CTF, which is like literally a rare combination. You can't see such CTFs in the like world conduct, which probably getting conducted by top organizations, tab or like top fat organizations like Google or Microsoft or DEFCON, such like that, which is also like invite only events. Probably they are such events. And mixed cells CTF, which is a combination of both.
Due to some network issue, Mr. Sriram won't be able to continue, so Mr. Lakshay Baheti and Aditya will continue with the session.
So as Sriram was telling, there are different types of CTF. These can include forensics, networking, web application, steganography, reversing, as well as other exploits. So right now we'll take an example of a web application and show you how to solve a CTF. So the approach to solving a CTF will be explained by us now. And Aditya, can you pull the doc file?
Yes.
So first I will so our CTF is solved is basically first you start with information gathering. After that you have a service analysis as well as vulnerability analysis. After that, as it is a web application, we have a web application analysis to check which services are running and if any of them are outdated or if have any other exploits. And after that, we try to gain access to the user. Once we gain access to the user, we perform something called privilege escalation, from which we get root access. So the CTF that you are going to solve will be a Docker file. So Aditya is following the steps to download a similar CTF.
In the challenge page, we'll be providing all the instructions on how to pull a Docker and also run the certain Docker.
Aditya,
Yeah.
can in 1080?
Sorry.
Can we stream at 1080 rather than 720? If possible.
Yep. I changed the stream quality. Is it better?
Yeah, it's better.
So, yep. So we got the Docker, and this is the command to run the Docker, and we'll be having a different command for the challenge CTF. Yeah,
Right.
so huh.
We are running the CTF on our local machine.
So right now we can see that the Docker is at localhost and port 80. So the first thing we'll try to do is go to the site.
So machine CTF is generally a system with a service running on it, and we are trying to exploit the service to get access to that system.
Here we can see that we got a default Apache server page. So by this we can know that it runs a Apache server. Further, we can use GoBuster tool to for subdirectory listing.
So what GoBuster does is it uses a dictionary attack. In this, it brute forces all the different directories and sees what responses you get from the website. As you can see, there are 403, 301, and a 200 response. So 403 is a not found response, as you all know, and the status 200 as that the response is with the page that is found. So Aditya will first now go to that web page on the browser. So for going to the web page on the browser, you just use the IP address followed by a forward slash and whatever the directory GoBuster lists out. So yeah, Aditya.
Yeah, so this is the HTML page with server code, response code 200. So we'll be trying to check the blog subdirectory. So yeah, this looks like a WordPress blog. Uh, Geo Pranish, can you check the audio settings for me? Yeah, so here, yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, so this is just another WordPress site. So let's, if we look around it, we can see that there's a user now. So we can just keep that at the back of our mind. And one of the first things I do is basically open up the page source and try to look around, because in CDS generally we can get user credentials and also usernames in the page source. So let's check for that first. Here we can see that there's a CSS style sheet for plugin called Reflex Gallery. So we can keep that at the back of our mind again. And by going through the page, I don't think there's any credential or username.
As you can see, it's a WordPress website, so you know the service running is WordPress. So we'll try searching for the version of the WordPress, what vulnerabilities it could possibly have.
So I'm just checking the pages of this page again, and I don't think there's anything here as well. So by basic enumeration from this website, we can get that this is a user with user called Arnav, and also that it has a plugin called Reflex Gallery. So to for more enumeration, let's do directory listing for blog as well. So here we can find three directories: WP admin, WP content, and WP includes. Let's try accessing those. So yeah, WP admin led us to a login page. We don't have any credentials right now, but let's just try with no and no for one. So that obviously was in the right password, and but we got an error message saying that Arnav is the correct username, but the password is wrong. So we can try around for that. And another common thing to search for is default using credentials.
So this is generally a very well-known vulnerability that people do not change the default credentials. So this is why we'll be trying the default values.
Yeah, they're not using any default credentials, and we can even see from the error message that they changed everything. So there's no even username with WP. Can check with root as well. We get the
What
same error message.
what we could also do was we could use a brute force attack to search for usernames and passwords, but that's generally not the way in a CTF. But just in case you're hard stuck, you could just try a brute force attack using Hydra.
We can try accessing the other directories also. Let's try that. So we need authentication to access this directory. Let's check for includes as well. Yep. So even this directory needs authentication to access it. So basically, we're right now at kind of a dead end. We need a login credential to go any further. So generally, there's a very well-known tool called WP Scan to.
Popular services such as WordPress as well as Drupal have their own scanner. So it's called WordPress. It's called WP Scan. So we'll continue with this part afterwards, Aditya. Sriram is back. We can continue with this too. So
Oh,
we'll continue from the WP Scan.
okay, sure.
So yeah, I'll go on with the screen share.
Yes.
Okay, is the screen visible right now? I hope I need to go for it. I'll open up my WhatsApp. So if Daya bro, if you're on this, yeah, fine. I'll just give a warning here. Daya bro, if you're hearing this, just let me know if the audio is down or what, because I have a direct update from WhatsApp bro. Just don't mind it, okay? The WhatsApp screen, so they can background noise. Okay, I'll switch off everything right now. So just let me know, my guys, my team. Just let me know they're also watching the stream. They'll alert me directly, right? So I hope I'm audible right now, right? There are different types of CTFs. For example, the first one is Jeopardy CTF, which is a traditional CTF model, and also next one we have the attack and this one's CTF, which is really a rare combination actually. You cannot see this so easily, because these kind of CTFs are conducted by very big fat organizations, which is really rare to be seen. And the third one is a mixed style CTF. Which is a combination of both the Jeopardy and attack defense style. I'll explain what is a Jeopardy style CTF. Jeopardy style CTF are like the traditional kind of CTFs, it's something traditional kind of CTF where you'll be solving every single task and will be forwarded, which is kind of a level kind of thing. When you solve the first level, you'll be forwarded for the next level. For example, if you find a login page, you just need to find the credentials for the page. For example, you need to find the username and password, and then you will be greeted with the panel, which can be an admin panel or an user panel. It can be anything, and that's how Jeopardy style CTFs are conducted. And it's it is conducted on different kinds of techniques. For example, binary exploitation. It can be like any kind of style. For example, there are several kinds of styles. I'm not sure about other organizations, because I participate in less CTFs. I rarely participate in CTF, but I have I've been trying to make it really constant, and I'll explain what kind of CTFs will be conducted and these kinds here. Jeopardy style CTFs have these kind of types, where the first one is binary exploitation. Some organizations give a lot of importance on binary exploitation. The reason here is they'll like give you with a program. You need to find the error in a program, for example, error in a program where you can like make use of the bug or the issue to exploit and pop a shell in the machine, which is called as binary exploitation. And the next one is cryptography, and cryptography is also the less seen CTF task. Most probably again the fat organizations like Google, DEFCON would love to present this kind of CTF task. Cryptography is mainly used, in challenges like encryption and decryption, where you find a ciphertext. You need to decode it. You need to like apply some kind of encryption technique. You need to decode it, and in that case, you need to follow the get the flag, which is the traditional form of cryptography. And by the time we are talking, cryptography is a kind of topic which is evolving day to day. So it is not something like a basic example, and you can find a lot of examples like this on cryptography. You can just go ahead and explore. The next one is web exploitation, which is one of the most like common kind of Jeopardy style CTFs. For example, you need to pop an XSS weight. In the XSS you will be presented with a flag sometimes, and on the next time you'll be forced to do a buffer overflow, or you need to make use of memory exploitation. You need to shell out the resources on the machine, and you can sometimes you need to send an forged request to the server. It can be any kind of stuff that relates with the web kind of vulnerabilities, which is really common in kind of CTFs. For example, in basic kind of CTFs, they are the basic kind of CTF web exploitation is a major topic. And also, guys, if you don't have a notepad, just prefer to use a notepad, because in common CTFs, not just in the session, the people who's going to attend the CTF, who's going to which is a small tip, because whenever you come across something like really awkward in the machine, just make it note down, and you'll be shocked to see some might be really useful. Some people don't really use it, but top researchers, I've been working with Google researchers so closely, and what I've seen from them is they like to have a notepad with them, and they try to write out the important things. I also have a notepad here because I just had a session here, right? Someone was having a session, and I just tend to write it down, because everything is learning. So prefer to have a notepad by the time, and that really helps you out, not just in this kind of topics. It can be anything like AL or AA or ML. It can be anything. Whereas in reverse engineering, it is also a most common topic, where other even all the organizations would love to present these kind of task, where in reverse engineering you will be presented with an image, for example, APK file or DMG file or EXE. It can be any kind of file. So sometimes you will be presented with an VBox, virtual box sometimes. So what you need to do is you need to deconstruct the application. For example, you need to reverse the application to find more information about the the product, which sometimes comes with even more little hard challenges. Next one is forensics. Probably you'll be given a log file, or you'll be given an image where you'll be auditing some of the log files in order to find some of the hidden flags in it, and it is not also visible for human eyes. It will be encrypted, and you'll be in the forensic you'll be given a log file. You'll find a flag which is similar to a flag, and you need to apply some cryptographic techniques like decrypt the flag using the ciphertext, using some encryption techniques. And these are some of the basic Jeopardy style CTF. And the next one is attack defense style CTF. Let me be honest, I attended attack defense style CTF by Google. I'll be really honest, it was one of the worst and the most hardest CTF I ever saw in the world, because I didn't attend the CTF, as I said. I didn't attend the CTF, but I was seeing the live stream. It really shocked me, because it was really hard, where a group of people who are attackers will try to attack the mission and try to capture the flag, whereas the other team will be defending the mission by using some blue teaming techniques. Blue teaming is a kind of teaming where your goal is to secure the mission, and red teaming is the goal of breaking the mission and to find some confidential information. Where I saw the mission, I saw the CTF which was exclusive for some researchers. I was really shocked, because there was such CTFs being conducted all over the world, which goes unnoticed by the people. You can also search for Escal 8, which probably I can also do it for you. just go for Google VRP SQLite. Just go for it, and you can find some information on this. I'm sure the screen is also like visible for everyone. I can just go like show you some kind of yeah, it happened on Google Office, which is in London. You can just go on and find the video. You can also look into the video. I'm not gonna give a spoiler here. Just go and watch the video. It will be super cool, right? And such kind of CTFs are really hard, and you need to be on the safe side, because attacking side is something you'll think that it is most comfortable, you can just attack information, but it is not, because on the opposite team, the blue teaming team will be defending the machines by applying some firewalls, to bypass the firewalls. They'll apply some techniques, rate limiting issues, and such kind of things. It will be super cool. And the next one is where you'll literally cry. As I said, I previously said I love to use emojis. And the last kind of CTF is where you'll literally cry, because it is a combination of both Jeopardy and attack defense style CTFs. I never attended such kind of CTFs, or I never participated or I never saw it, but I had experience from my friend. He literally came out of the like a teaming on the first level, because he couldn't make after the first level. He was like he's one of the best programmer I ever seen on this universe, to be honest. Who is a close friend of mine, who's also like a founder of my organization. And he literally gave up on this CTF, because even though he is good in like information security, or I considered him as a god, to be honest. He literally came out of the CTF, which was conducted in Chennai. I'm just not gonna give that, because it is an invite only event. And such kind of CTFs are also conducted, which is also gives you a lot of insights of information security. You guys might be wondering, there's nothing playing like CTF. Whenever I share with my friends, there's a game called like you can play CTF. I don't like personally play a lot of CTFs, but I like recommend people to play CTF sometimes, and they'll ask me what are the benefits of CTFs, and they'll give up a lot of questions. I just want to give this. You can develop your infosec skills, to be honest. I am in this infosec field for more like 4 years probably. I am right from my age of 19 or 18 probably. I'm from my age of 16. Okay. I'm from age of 16, and I've been like looking into the infosec community for like more years than like from the like very basic mind. And I've been developing a lot of skills, but I never attended CTF. This is just a couple of years I started attending CTF when I entered into Google Hall of Fame, and they started inviting me with some CTF invites, and that really shocked me, like, because CTF is also one source of gaining information, and you can also develop your skills. But I never expected. I thought CTF is kind of a waste of time, and you cannot like to be honest, that was my perspective on seeing CTF. I thought CTF is just a waste of time, where you can use such time to find bugs or something like that. But to be honest, CTF helped me a lot in my infosec community on during several company audits. We audit a lot of companies on security audit. We process a lot of data in other organizations. During those time, it helps us to minimize our time, in log file analysis or something like that, in initial audits as well. That helped us a lot as well. And and also that helped me find one of the most awesome bug that I ever found on the internet. To be honest, the bug is not in the internet. Okay, so I found a bug which is not in the internet. I'm just working with my friend, which is Mukesh, to to find the same bug in all other organizations, because to be honest, I can literally remove you from any platform by using the bug, which is, I found the bug in all major organizations, even in Microsoft. I reported the bug in Google, which is now escalated, and let's see how it goes on. And the next one is team building skills. I'm not a social guy, to be honest. I'm not a social guy. Even though I run an organization, I prefer to be alone. I never met a person like randomly. I don't prefer socializing with the people, but playing CTFs helped me a lot, because I have a lot of friends in infosec community, to be honest. On this like past 1 year, I have a lot of friends right now. So I'm making a lot of friends, which will also help you. I'm not a socializing guy, but that helped me a lot. And CTFs will really give you will give you exposure about the real world vulnerabilities. You tend to use your CVEs, some updated CVEs on CTF machines where you cannot use those CVEs on real time machines. For example, if you find a CVE, for example, the big IP FI, which is a recent, like trending CVE, which was, commonly used on the internet, the hackers were exploiting the issues. A lot of people were, making like, bad use of it in an illegal way, and a lot of people couldn't experience it, and I had no time to experience how actually it was to break into the big FI network by using the issue by the CVE, and one machine gave me such a, advantage. I'm sorry, I just had a call. I'm sorry. Okay. I had a mission. I still don't remember the mission. Maybe I'll share once the session over because I have it in my another computer. I saw a mission which really helped me understand how actually the big FI IP CV was actually executing, and it really gave me an insight of it, which really helped me, to be honest. So play CTF whenever you have time, and it gives you a lot of attention, and also it helps you develop your skills. And next one, CTF provides you a financial assistance, to be honest. Whenever you attend a CTF, you get prizes, you get swag, some kind of recognition. Maybe if you guys win this OSPB AT CTF, you guys might, get a recognition by, they'll probably put up your name on their Instagram. Maybe a lot of girls or guys might see them. You guys, you kind of get a fame in that. That's kind of cool, right? So yeah, you can also get some kind of recognition in that kind. It will be like super cool. I've also had such recognitions, and you'll also have some financial assistance there, right? You'll also have a lot of financial assistance, and they tend to give you like monetary rewards, like prize cashes. A lot of CTFs are conducted as like $1,000 reward, $500, which will really help you to grow up your skills. Not just bug bounty. If any bug bounty hunters here, try to do CTF. I just realized the importance of CTF by my friend. So I have to like the important question is, I don't need the other things, like for example, I don't need to know like benefits of CTF. I don't need to how to actually get prepared for CTF is the most like common question, which is like not a lot of people come through, because a lot of people who come as a beginner just give up on the CTF because it is a very conundrum, a difficult a platform here, which is in InfoSec community, because you cannot find a exact resource on the internet based on this. Even though there are amazing resources, you cannot pinpoint these are the best resources. You cannot point out any kind of resources that might be useful, because every single mission is built on their own, and we might not expect, we don't know what kind of challenges are coming up in OWASP 80 for you guys. Let's see, we still don't know like what kind of challenges are coming up for you in this, and what kind of challenges you'll be facing in the upcoming CTF. We are not sure about that, but still let's see what they have for us, and these are some kind of amazing resources I came across because this helped me a lot. The second one here is specifically for forensics, and they have a lot of other tabs too, but I specifically loved forensic related stuff here, right? So maybe you guys can give it a shot and go for a screenshot on this. I'll just give a couple of 5 seconds or less than that. So these 3 sites helped him a lot, and read a lot of write-ups, which is really important. Don't worry, we have a live machine running on the background. Maybe we'll try to solve it. And you also have a lot of friendly missions on the internet to practice your skills, and you can also experience. There are so many missions. Some of the 3 notable missions are Try Hack Me, where you can also learn and also explore some of the basic missions. The next one is Root Me. I'm really sorry, I just wrote Root there. I'm just going to go for Root Me. Yeah. Root Me, which is one of the famous like online machine where you can practice your skills there. And next famous thing is Hack the Box. Hack the Box is like the pinnacle of CTF. Like a lot of researchers try to make themselves at the top of Hack the Box to make them really reputed on their community. And yeah, so the CTF tools is one of the most difficult topic to use. You cannot predict what kind of tools you'll be using. You cannot literally say what kind of tools you'll be using, you know. You cannot know. Sometimes you need to use an Nmap, sometimes you don't need an Nmap, because everything is exposed in the source code sometimes. Sometimes you need to use a directory buster or link finder, sometimes you need to go for unbroken link, which is you know, sometimes you need to go for an like word list, but you don't need to go for a word list or a hydra. Sometimes issue might be on the response manipulation, where you need to, you know, use a burp suit. You know, there are a lot of tools, you can just like go for it. Like some of the top tools are listed in the site, you can also check for it. You can also go for a screenshot right now, no issues in that. I'll also be sharing the slide, no issues on that as well. I'll be sharing the screenshot on the resources tab. I'm not sure. I'll forward it to the technical team and they'll do the best by them. You know, this is the best site where you can learn some of the tools. But on my basis, you know, instead of learning them, just try to, you know, do it live on missions so that it gives you exposure. Okay, so. And next one is YouTube channels. Obviously, there are people who share for the community, who care for the community, and we need to really support them. And some of the YouTube channels are here. And you know, my first favorite YouTube channel is Hackersploit. Obviously, you know, being a cybersecurity guy, being an, you know, infosec guy, you cannot ignore Hackersploit, which really helped me during my initial days. And I've been a big fan of him. And next one is Hacking Simplified. I'm not sure he is good with CTF. He is good with, you know, explaining some of the real-time bug bounty CVEs, which might also really helpful for you in, you know, CTF missions where you apply some CVEs. And next one is the legend Live Overflow, and you can also check him out. I really love his, you know, write-ups and his YouTube videos. I'm a big fan as well. And next one we have John Hammer. I'm not really a big fan of John Hammond because I never saw a single video of him, but a lot of people recommended me to do it. Maybe probably I'll be honest here because I just want to be honest here. Okay, I'm not gonna be like you know, putting you a word of trust here. I'll be honest. I never saw a single video of John Hammond. Maybe I'll see it in the future after this slide. You know, my friends, a lot of friends recommended me and they were bashing me. Put John Hammond. He's the best guy. You know, I'm not even sure the spelling is right or wrong. I just went for it. And I hope my team will correct me here. Okay, and John Hammond, you can just Google it. It was a guy. I don't even remember his face. And next one is Pune Function, which is also one of the best channel where you can learn some of the basic functions. And the next one, the legend IPv6. And these are some of the YouTube channels. And there are also some top, you know, CTF events, you know, really like that make you really angry, and which are really hard for some, you know, top researchers to go really mad. And I just love Insomni Hack, which is conducted by some kind of university. I'm not sure which university, I don't remember. So I'm sorry because Infosys is really big. And next one, I love Google CTF very, very, very much. You can just go for it. You know, it's just a kind of experience. Even though you can't find a single plug, it will be an awesome experience. You know, I'm not a guy who wake up early morning, but I did recently. I woke up really at 8 o'clock, morning 8 o'clock, and I woke up with my team and I started hacking into the Google missions, which was really cool. We didn't solve any flag, but I had a lot of experience. I know Google CTF, obviously, it's kind of like a tough machine. And next one we have DEFCON CTF, which is again, I hope, you know, it's kind of offline based CTF, where, you know, which is both Jeopardy and attack defense style CTF. And next one we have Zero CTF and Plate CTF. I'm not sure about those two CTFs, but I've heard about it. I've read like, you know, write-ups about it, which was really cool. Some of the tasks like on reverse engineering, you know, it was really cool seeing those write-ups, and also explore a lot of write-ups, which is really important again. At present, you know, these are the global top CTF teams as per ctftime.org, which is by the site ctftime.org, and these are some of the you know, top CTF teams in the world, which is Perfect Blue, Dice Gang, and More Smoke Lead Chicken. I'm not sure why that name. And my favorite team for CTF is Payson, who recently, you know, on 2020, who won the Google CTF trophy. And you know, Payson is my favorite mission. It's my favorite team, and I love to read those write-ups from them. And I prefer reading on. And you can also go for Zero Ops. And there are a lot of teams you can go for. You can just go for ctftime.org, and you can find a lot of things. And the next most important thing is practice a lot, and lot, because CTFs are something that you cannot get experience by solving 2 or 3 missions. You need to go on for like 100 missions where you can make yourself comfortable, and you cannot still master it. Okay, so CTF is something, you need to explore every single mission is built in a different way, and you have a lot of suspenses in every single mission, every single task. A Jeopardy style of CTFs or such thing. You need to solve every single task to go for the promote for the next level. In that case, such kind of CTFs are really cool, and you need to practice a lot, which is really important. So let's break some missions in a live manner. I'm just gonna switch on my Kali Linux. I'm gonna like switch on my CTF mission which I have loaded. It's been like probably a year I tried this mission. Let's see. I have loaded a mission here, and my team, just let me know if the screen is visible for you guys on my group, Tire group. Yeah. Okay. I think the screen is visible. Yes or no? Yes, cool. Okay, I have a mission booted up in my virtual box. I'm just gonna crack it open, which is a second. Okay, which is a boot to or root mission, which is a traditional form of Jeopardy style CTF, CTFs. Whereas in boot, you need to boot up your own mission. You need to find the host, and you need to scan the host and find the like basic bugs or vulnerabilities, maybe. And you need to gain, there are some kind of vulnerabilities you need to explore on your own. You need to find some of illogical bugs that you never faced on your real web applications. And after a long task, what you need to do is you need to gain access to the root machine, or root user, which is really important, which is called as boot to root. You need to boot up your own machine, and you need to gain access to your root machine. For example, we have a Docker based CTF right now in OSBV80, where you need to boot up your machine by using the Docker. You need to pull the Docker image, and you need to build it on your own, and you need to run it on your own. I'm not a big fan of Docker, to be honest. I'm not going to participate in the CTF since I hate Docker, and maybe I'll try it a bit. So this is called as a boot to root. This is one of the most like common kind of kind of CTF. So let me just jump into my machine. I hope the screen is really visible, because my terminal like words are really small. Just give me a last confirmation, bro. Bro. Or anyone else in my team. Okay, I hope. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Yeah, okay, fine. So since I have booted my mission, I'll just go ahead and find some missions that are located into my network. So I'm just going to go for net discover, which is what it is going to do is it is going to discover some of the missions which is located in my network. I'm sorry, I need sudo net discover -i, which is going to specify the adapter, and eth0. So which is going to scan some of the missions that are being hosted in my local machine. And I see Intel Corporate, which is my own laptop, which I have nothing to do with. And I have PCS System Technic GmbH, which doesn't make sense because I don't have such kind of a machine here in my home. And the next one is TP-Link, which is my router, and unknown vendor. It's probably like my extender or something else. I have a Wi-Fi extender probably. I'm not sure what model, even if it is. Maybe it's that thing. Maybe we'll try this, which is PCS System Technic GmbH. Let's see what it has. I'll just gonna stop this, and I'll open up my Firefox. And the host ID, I'll go for the host, which is 192.168.0.115. And again, this is a basic kind of CTF. If any beginners are here, just look for it. You might have some any clues for for the CTF you're going to participate right now, probably. Okay, so right now we are greeted with the page. It says it's easy. Obviously I've selected a easy mission because it's been like almost a year I participated into the CTF. I just want to make it really simple because I don't want to get into some awkward situations. Okay, so we have this small page. Let's look into the source. Okay, so this is the source of the page, which is the source. We are going to look into source, but we don't have anything here. So, which is, do you guys hear something like scratching? Okay, fine. I'll just ignore it. Okay, so
Not much.
not much. Okay, I'm not sure. I keep hearing it. Is it from something else, or I'm not sure. Okay, fine. So I have a source code of this site. I have nothing much to do here. So what I'll do is I'll go for Nmap, which is the most basic information gathering tool. What I'll do is I'll just go for a basic service detection scan, and which is gonna specify as -sv, and I'm gonna scan the host which is located on 192.168.0.115, and this is going to give like the information about the open ports, the services or the versions which has been running on the local machine, and this is going to give us some information, and by the time we'll see if it is possible to pop any like some kind of port numbers, because it's probably such kind of machine. Okay, it takes a lot of time. Okay, we have the information here. So we have port number 22 open here, which is running an SSH service. Obviously, we can go for SSH login here probably, and we have a open SSH 6.6.1 P1. We are running Ubuntu 2.7, which is in Linux protocol 2.0, and maybe I can go for Rapid7 exploits, which can be used on Metasploit. But since OSPVAT team said me we are not going to use a Metasploit here, I'm not going to show you guys how to use a Metasploit or how to exploit this thing using a Metasploit. Maybe we'll go in a more traditional way instead of using a Metasploit, because Metasploit is something like taking a shortcut, which I don't like. Okay, so let's just ignore it. Next one we have 80, port number 80, and obviously it is one of the basic form of protocols. And next one we have one service unrecognized despite returning data. Okay, maybe we'll run an exact port scan, which might give us the information. Nmap, I'm going to specify the port numbers. So what it is going to do is, which is going to specify the port numbers. Okay, it is giving me a smart recommendation, which is going to specify the port number, which I'm going to scan here until this port, from port number 1 to 65,535, and it is going to scan the services located like running on the host, which is 192.168.0.115. It can be different from your machine, and this host can be obviously like accessed by only within my like home network. So I'll quickly open up my mobile phone. If you guys have any doubts, I'll probably until the scan is getting done, I'm not a Discord guy. I've been telling this back to back. I'm sorry. Okay, it takes a lot of time. You can also use extra commands like -t4, which is going to increase the verbosity level, or you can also use a lot of probing techniques, which I'm not going to use, and we have the result here. And we have again port number 22 and 22 open, and we have port number 80 open, and we have something new here, which is port number 1898, which is running on Apache HTTP 2.4.7, which is also Ubuntu, which I'm going to write it down right now, because I'm not going to come back to this. So yeah, I really prefer you guys to write it down whenever you see something, this kind of information, 1898, which is the most important information. So let's see if we try to pop the site with the port 1898. Okay, I just have an HTTPS. I'll just remove it. Yeah, we have a site here. Let's see how the site is built, and we have some kind of information. Maybe we'll go for a Google Translate. You can just go for any kind of techniques you just go for, because CTF or some kind of using your creative knowledge, you need to think so logically. For some idle and serious. Okay, some kind of Napoleon stuff. You're not going to go into that. And we have a login here. And and we have a register. Let's see what it has to offer us. And we have create account. Let's see, we'll go for admin. We'll go for admin at x.com. Okay, unable to send email. Thank you for applying account. You are currently pending approval by the site administrator. Okay, still we don't have any further information. Let's try logging in admin or admin, which doesn't make sense here. Maybe admin password. Okay, I think we need to go for SSH login. I'm not sure. I'm just going to go for the site. Since we have no more information about this, just go the site. Okay. So let's go for link finder. I guess we'll find some more even links. For example, I'll just go to make sure it is seen by everyone. Okay. If you guys come across this kind of sites, when you have no more information, just go for link finder, which I really prefer for some bug hunters too. You know, we just love using this tool. So what it is going to do is it is going to find all the links situated in this tool. I'm just going to close the nmap here. Okay, so I'm just going to go for the desktop. Let's go for the desktop. I'm a guy who uses a lot of clear commands, just ignore it. And git clone, and let's get imported ls cd link finder. Ls we have link finder.py, but still let's run the requirements.txt like txt, because Python files tend to use a lot of libraries and external modules. We'll try to install all the basic requirements. I hope I don't occupy a lot of time now, because I also have some work. Pip install -r. Okay. Can anyone answer me, like, if people have access to event queries, or it is after this session? Someone?
The participants can access the event queries right now, Sriram.
Okay. Okay, fine. If you guys have any queries, just you can just drop a message on like the channel, which is event queries under TOVC 1.0. You can ask your questions there on Discord. Obviously, they would have given you the links, and we'll try to run the link finder. I'm going to use Python 3, which we personally prefer. Let's go for a help. I'm not sure what is kind of input. Okay, got it. So sorry, I'm just going to run the Python link finder, and I'm just going to give the input, which is 192.168.0.115. Okay, my notes helped me a lot here. So I'm just going to give the output on my command line interface. I just don't wanna. Okay, Python 3 link finder. Okay, let's see what information we have on this site. SSL error. Maybe we'll go for directory buster. Maybe, wait a minute, I'll hope this works. Domain, which is going to give a domain URL file or a folder. Clear -i, which I prefer to use it, or we need to specify the port number here. So I guess the port number is 1898. I guess it is 1898. I guess it is. Oh, let's see what kind of information. I'm really sorry. I'm just doing like really bad. Bear with me. Oh, 18. Okay, thank God, finally. Shit, my keyboard sucks. Okay, so what we have here is we have a lot more information, but we'll just ignore these, which is some like predefined links which is you can find a lot here, and I don't think this is going to be helpful. And we just tried a register, we didn't try password. Maybe what we'll do is we'll just try password here, the password link which we recently found. So we have, I guess we did this, admin. Yeah, we did this. Let's see what we have next here. I guess since we have SSH, we need to go for a word list. So we might have any endpoint which has a word list here. Okay. So we have a lot of information here in the site. We have a lot of words. So probably what we're gonna do is we'll go for a tool called Seul, which I probably use to call this Seul, which is gonna give us a custom word list based on the site, which is gonna find some of the usernames and passwords, which is gonna organize some of them. So what can I do is we're gonna create a custom word list right now. So I hope I'll be happy if the comments are here. Okay. No, that helps a lot here. So I'll go for desktop. I'll run Fuel on the host, which is HTTP 192.168.0.115. It's also run on 1898, and I'll just specify output. Okay, let's see. Let's see if it is running really good. Right. Okay, I guess it has written some information. Okay, we have out.txt. Let's see out.txt. We have some information here. So let's see, and we need to go for the user login. Let's try admin, and we need to go for the password, which we need to use for the go for it. And we have something even more information here. Can you guys see this? Submitted by Tiago, which means he's also a user who has submitted a post here. Let's say if it is a password, if it is a username, we'll go for brute forcing the password by using our word list. So I still remember how we used to crack this mission. So what we're going to do is we'll use Hydra here, and we'll use a I'll just go for the PWD, because this is a new version of Linux. I never used it. This is my first time interacting with this. We have a smart recommendations. We have a lot of updates here, and we're going to use Hydra, which is going to give us a login username, which is Yago. Okay, and we're going to specify the password, which is located at home, tally, at desktop, which is also in the folder out.txt. And we need to specify the login here, which is SSH login, which is 192.168.0.115, I believe. And we don't need to specify the port number here, since we have also specified SSH here. We're just going to ignore it, and we'll go for it. Let's see until we have the response from the site. We'll just wait for it, and by the time I'll just hop into the YouTube video. If they have, okay, they don't have a live chat, fine. Okay, by the time I'll check the Discord if there's any questions we have from the people.
Till now we didn't get any queries, Ram. If we do get, we'll let you know.
Yeah, sure. Oh, okay. We have a password, username and password. We have cracked it. We have Tiago. We have Virgilino, something else. We'll just copy it, and what we'll do is we'll just go for the direct login here from the terminal. We'll go for SSH login, which is going to be specified as SSH, and we'll specify the username. Oh shit! I hope I just copied the password. I'm not sure. Maybe. Okay, I did a very bad job. I hope I'll write up the password right now. Probably might be I hope I verbally know. Okay, we'll just also go for the thing here, 168.0.115, and that is the reason I also always prefer, and I also recommend you guys to use a notepad. I just forgot the password. I hope I'll do it right. I hope I pasted it right in thing. Okay, I did something here. Okay, yes, paste. I just add a message. Yeah. Some guy helped me on my group, which is verbally known. And we have the root access of the machine here now. We have Thiago, which is here. We have the root access. We still need to, get the, user access. We still need to, get the main access of the machine, which is the root access. We are running GNU Linux Ubuntu 14.0.1. Just a second. Okay, my team is calling me in my WhatsApp group. Like I just prefer to use a clear screen all the time, so that's why. Okay, and what I'll do is we'll go for ID, and we are still in the basic user, and fine. We'll just go for the root. The one advantage with the Linux machines is popping the root, which is really tough. Privilege escalation is a kind of stuff. So, for example, if someone is having any doubts with privilege escalation, like we call it as PE, which is privilege escalation. What you need to do is you'll be given a machine with the basic permissions, and you need to like apply some kind of technical find get bypass the admin panel user panels and gain access to the admin panel to or directly request a condition or a parameter directly request for it, and go for it. And these are some kind of techniques where you can go for it, and some people go for direct CVEs attacks where they tend to use metasploits, higher level permissions or root permissions. I'll just go for short, and we'll also like which is called as root. That is what the traditional boot to root machines do it, where you boot the machine and you tend to gain a root access to the machine, and that is what you guys do. And what here we guys are going to do is I'm just going to mute. I keep getting the messages. Okay, just ignore this. A couple of I just fine. Okay. So what we're going to do is we need to. You guys keep hearing WhatsApp messages sounds. I just want to make sure because it might be somewhere irritating.
No, sir. WhatsApp.
Okay, so I'm just sorry because it keeps banging in my headphones overall, and that is why I got confused. So what we need to do is you can also go for Metasploit, or you can also go for some kind of CV based bugs, and I just want to show you guys a quick example how to pop a shell or how to gain a privileged access in the machine by using a shortcut. I don't think a lot of people use these techniques because I've seen a lot of CTF guys playing CTF, but I never saw people using this kind of technique. So I'll just share the technique with you guys, which is just go for Linux exploit suggester. I'm not sure like if you guys have been using this. Just a second. I'm not sure if you guys are using this. If yes, I'll be happy. But I've seen not a lot of people are using this. I'm not sure why. So I really prefer using this Linux exploit suggester because it helps you guys a lot, and it also saves a lot of time in order to gain access to a privileged machine, like access. So what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and copy it, and since we are in the local sorry. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use git clone. So we'll get wget and we'll just paste the link, and yes we have, and ls we have the Linux exploit suggester here. So we'll go for the read and write permissions, Linux exploit suggester ls, sorry. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'll just open up what it has. Okay, I never expected HTML file. I'm really sorry. I was about to, I should have went for the raw file and instead I went for the, sorry. Because since you use, wget, it'll give you the front end side of the page, and we'll go for wget, paste a file, get it, ls, give the write and read permissions, sorry, clear ls, and what we have is, we have a Linux exploit suggester. All you just need to do is run the file as Linux exploit suggester, and this is going to take some time. What it's going to do is, it is going to, scan your kernel from the right, from the basic thing, and it is going to give you some information about the basic CVs that are identifiable by the, operating system or the kernel version you are running. I'm receiving a call, just a second. Just give me a second. I'll just, I just want to attend this call real bad.
It's fine, Kiran.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll go for the mission right now. Okay, I hope mm, uh, we'll see what kind of informations we have. Since I've consumed a lot of time here, I'll just make it faster. So we have a lot of CTs, we have a lot of CVs here, where, since I already know that this machine is running on Ubuntu 14, which obviously is vulnerable to Dirty Cow, thanks to Vaishak bro, who, updated with me, who told me about the Dirty Cow exploit. So what we're gonna do is, we'll try to use a Dirty Cow exploit here. So here, sorry. Okay. So what we'll do is, we'll just copy the link, because the Dirty Cow 2 is one of the most common exploit you can find on Ubuntu. I'll just, go for it. And what we will do is, I'll just go for clear. I'll be happy to do it, since, I'll go for wget and, get the file. And I hope we have the file here, and ls, and we have the file, which is, we'll also give the permissions for the file. And I hope, cat 40, okay, I hope it is a C file. Yes, it is a C file. We have IOStream engineering guys. Okay, so what we'll do is, for without any issues, we'll just rename the file. I just wanted to go for it, because always rename the file to, prevent any issues. I always prefer doing it. I just want to do it. So for renaming, obviously a lot of people might know the command, and home go and 4087.c clear, and I hope I have the permissions. Yes, we do have. I'll open up the command. I just, don't remember the command. I'll be honest with this, and I hope they'll give you the commands here. Yes, they do have. Thank God. Because that would be really awkward. So I'll just copy it. And what we're going to do is, we're going to run the command, which is going to give us a file, which is decode. Instead, what we'll do is, we'll give the output file as OASPV80 to run the final file, and it is going to run the C++. Sorry. Run the file, and it is going to, you make use of the CV present in this machine, and okay. Oh, CPP. Oh, it is a CPP file. Okay, so maybe what I'll do is, I'll just go for the Oh, we have decov file. Maybe I'll directly run the decov file. Yes, we have. I'm really sorry. And we have the root password here, and we directly pop to the root password here because I already know this is going to use a dirty code. Because when you get used to the CTF machines, when you find a specific version of the Ubuntu versions, or it get used to it, based on experiences, you can find the exploits there. And what I'm going to do is I'll just copy the password here, which is dirty cow fun, and I'll give the user permissions su. I'll paste the password, and yes, obviously we have the root permissions here, and we are inside the folder homes. We'll go for cd ls, and there we have the and uh, and there we have the file called flag.txt. So let's pop it open, flag.txt, and here we have the flag, and you need to submit your flag on the machines respectively, and this is how you can pop it open, and we have obviously have the root permissions here. So this is how CTF can be solved. I'm really sorry because I had a lot of issues in the back end from my side. So I couldn't make it a real good session. I never expected this to be really bad. So but still, thank you everyone. I hope it was a something informative sessions and practice a lot. I hope it was. I'm really sorry. I hope I did my best here. Yeah.
Thank you, Sriram, for that wonderful session.
Yeah.
And it was great having you. All of us learned a lot.
Yeah. Thank you.
Next, we'll be moving with Aditya and Lakshavya for the demo.
Thank you, Shreya, for your time. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Shreya, we can close your stream.
Next, we'll have Aditya and Lakshavya to continue the demo.
Yeah, one second.
So Sriram wonderfully explained the CTF example, and Dirty Cow the exploit use was a Linux kernel exploit. Now we'll be continuing with our own demonstration. So what we did was we first downloaded the Docker file and installed it, and after running it, we went to the website. On going to the website, we found and credentials, and we weren't able to get anywhere from there. So now we'll be using the WP scanner, which is scanning vulnerabilities on WordPress. So yeah.
Yeah, so the last thing we tried before was we were just, I think Lakshavya was speaking about WP scan. So it is an enumeration tool for scanning WordPress sites, and we can see all the flags it has. So let's try it once.
So right now we're just performing a default scan on the WordPress website, and we use the / blocks because we need to use it on that directory itself because that's where the service is running.
Yeah, so the scan is back and everything seems to be normal. We got the version of Apache running on it. We even got with the readme farm. We even got the WordPress version, right? So the thing is, we couldn't find any plugins right now, but if you guys remember, we found some plugins when we were looking through the page source. So let's try for a more aggressive scan now. So these are just the flags for AP means all plugins. So it basically goes to a bigger word list, and detection of aggressive mode means it will look harder for the plugins. So let's wait for the results.
So right now we run this plugin scan because we saw that there was CSS plugin.
Can we zoom in the terminal so that it's
I don't think we can do that. Is it not visible?
pressing Control plus may work? Check it.
Yeah, but like it is it visible now?
Yeah, it is visible. You can continue as if it's visible.
Yeah, so basically it's running through the word list. So we just have to wait for a couple of minutes till it gives us the results back.
So generally in WordPress there are exploits in the plugins as well as themes itself because they are made by third-party vendors. So they're either not updated or they are already known vulnerabilities as they are not run through many security checks regularly. So due to that, we are trying to find for plugin exploits. Okay.
Yeah, so basically for plugins as Lakshya explained, they're basically third-party plugins, so they'll be having a lot of vulnerabilities and they're not patched as frequently as WordPress is. So most of the times we get an exploitation through the plugins. So we got our results back, and here we can find two plugins. So one is Akismet and the other one is Reflexally. If you guys remember, in the first part of the session, we found a Reflexally CSS in the home page of the blog, and here we can see that the version is out of date. So which means there might be a possibly a exploit for it. So let's just check for that.
There might be an already known vulnerability for this plugin. So we'll be going to Google and searching for the exploit now. There are many databases such as ExploitDB, Rapid7 as well as there's Searchsploit on your own system. So we can use any of those exploits and we can try them out.
Here we can see that there's already a Metasploit module built into it, built for this exploit. So let's research for that.
You don't need to verify that the version of the plugin matches because here it shows 1.3.1. and anything after that. Sorry, 3.1 times 2.
3.1, sir. And so Metasploit is a huge framework which consists of exploits, scanners, and lots of other stuff. Yeah, so this is the exploit which we found on the internet. We can use the cell module by using the number from the ID of the table. So let's check all the options it has. Sorry, my bad. Yeah, so basically when you're using Metasploit or any normal exploits, lhost and lports generally mean the attacking machine. So right now my IP address is this and the port it's using for listening to get a shellback is this. And need to be setting our host, our port and target URI. So let's do that. That is,
So what we're doing now is providing the values for the required variables.
yeah, so
We
you
set
can
the target URI because the service is running in this directory, the / dot directory.
so you can see we set all the necessary things, the required ones. The IP address, port, and the target URI. To run the exploit, you just type in exploit, and here you can see that a Metapredator session is opened up. If you guys don't know what a Metapredator is basically like a shell, but with lots of other functionalities built in, and it is really cool. So I'll show you in a second. We got a Metapredator session back. Here you can type in help, and these are all these commands which you can do: play audio, system commands, networking commands, file system, and so much. So let's just drop a shell by typing in shell. We're dropping a shell onto the system, and let's see which user we are. So right now we are www hyphen data user. So generally, when for the server, this user is used. So right now we have a very limited shell. So let's get a better shell.
So generally we use the bash shell in Linux. So we'll try to access the bash shell using these commands. It's called a tty shell.
So yeah, these are all the ways to get a TTY shell. So let's try with the first one. So yeah, we didn't get anything back because apparently there's no Python on the system. So this is a general thing. Most of the machines won't have like languages and everything. So you need to find the right version or the right command you need to uh, run to get the shell back. So let's try this. I yeah. So this we got a TTY shell back. So this is how a normal shell looks like, and we travel back to the home directory of the user. So generally in CTS, when you're searching for a user flag, you'll be having a user flag in the home directory of the user. So let's just list all the files here. We don't actually have a user flag for this machine. We just have the root flag. So basically, if you're doing a normal CTF, this is how you search, or you can enumerate more, but generally you have a root user flag in the home directory. So check if there are any other users in this.
So if you're wondering why we are using the tty shell, this is because you can see the username as well as the working directory right now. And yeah, in this CTF there is no user flag, so we won't be copying it here. But in the CTF that you will be given, there will be a user flag as well as a root flag. Okay, continue.
So there are no users, other users in this system. So the only thing we can do is get a root account. So from here on out, it'll just be privilege escalation. So for privilege escalation, there are many ways to get around that. And one of the few things is like sudo l permissions, suid bit permissions, cron jobs, some running processes which are run by root. We can try to maybe get an exploit into those. Sometimes they're like misconfigured permissions through which you can write into some files. Like see, writing into HC password is a very well-known misconfiguration which we can exploit. So let's see if we have any of those here. So we don't have sudo permissions for this account. Using for SUID bits now.
We generally go for kernel exploits at the end, like Sriram showed the dirty cow exploit. We won't be using it right now. We'll try other approaches.
If you want to get to know more about SUID binaries, this is a really good article from Hacking Articles. So we'll just be using this command. So this find command is used to find all the SUID bits here. And yep, we got
What it does is it checks for permissions with type user equal to SUID. So using this, we list out all the examples.
so basically SUID binary is a normal binary with the SUID bit on, which means that when you run the certain binary, it runs with the permissions with the owner permissions basically. So what it means is that all of these binaries have the owner permissions as root, and when we run these binaries, we run that command with root permissions. And this is a website called GTFO bins, which is really great to for privilege escalation, not just for SUID but also sudo and lots of other stuff. So one of the things you can just go through and search if these binaries are here. So I'll show you some.
GTFOBin is basically a repository with all the different lists of permission and privilege escalation techniques. It will also have commands that you can use to escalate your privileges.
Yeah, so I searched for one of the binaries here, but we couldn't get for that. So let's try for this. We found for SU, but it's for the sudo privilege escalation. We don't have sudo permissions for this command. We only have SUID. So let's try for find. And here we found SUID way to get a privilege shell. So yeah, so this is the command basically which we have to run to get a for privilege escalation. So yeah, one second.
The first command showed on the website was basically to install find, which is already there on the system, so we don't have to run it. So we'll be using the second command to run the.
It ran, and here you can see that the UID is 0. It initially wasn't 0. So basically we are root right now. We can go to the root directory and we can grab our flag.txt. So yeah, here we're able to get root on the machine, and here's our flag.
So guys, if you have any queries, you'll have to go to the TOVC 1.0 channel and there'll be event queries there. If you're not able to view it, it's probably because you don't have the role of TOVC. So you will have to get the role.
This has been our demo for the CDF guide series. So thank you.
Thank you, Aditya and Lakshay Bhaiya. That was a really good session. Next, I would now tell all the rules for all the participants. So, uh, first of all of you need to use the flag format that is shared on the Discord server for your reference. And if you find any bug in any of the challenges, feel free to post it on the event queries channel and let us know about it. Challenge will be on Docker, so it is mandatory for all the participants to install it and be ready. Ranking on the leaderboard is not final. All your write-ups will also be evaluated. Moving ahead to the marking scheme, so user flag will be considered for 20 points. Root flag will be considered for 30 points. Write-up is for 30 points, where 10 points would be each for screenshots and the way to use flag and root flag. First write-up will be given 10 points. The best write-up would receive 10 points. Shooting without Metasploit would again receive 10 points. So, the most important one for this event is that sharing of flags and solutions is not allowed and it would result in disqualification. We hope all of you keep up the healthy competition and refrain from sharing your solutions and flags with the others. We will have top 3 individuals as winners, which will be announced by tomorrow. And in the end, I would say that all of us are over here to learn. So don't be disappointed if you don't win. And as Lakshay Bhaiya mentioned, all just post all your queries in the event queries channel on our Discord server, and our team will be there immediately to assist you. And all the best to all of you. Ash, would you want to add something else?
Uh, Moving on to the other part, the machine, we are ending up the intro session here. So the next part, that is the intro session here is summed up. So the next part, that is the machine, CTF solving thing. The machine will be live on our website from 3 p.m. today, and it will be live till 9 a.m. tomorrow. That is 18 hours total event is there. In this 18 hours, you'll have to submit the flags and submit the write-up as well. After 9 a.m., no submissions would be considered. Okay. You have any queries related to the CTF, to the website, to anything, you can drop your queries in the event queries channel under TOBC 1.0 section. Okay. Our mods are there, they will be answering your queries. Apart from that, regarding results, as Shraddha has already told, your flag, apart from your flags, your write-up also have to be submitted, and your write-ups matter more than your flags. So be make sure to add proper screenshots and make the write-up more much in a proper stepwise manner, so that we are able to know that okay, how you have solved the CTF. Okay. And final results will be declared by tomorrow evening, most probably. So stay tuned with us. Thank you for the event. Thank you everyone for joining us.